Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Neil out here at the Widener Range getting ready to recreate the shooting problem that we saw in today's video on the main channel.
Wilderness Tactical has been around for longer than the gun you're carrying has been, and they have been making high quality products for concealed carriers for literally decades. I wear their low pro belt every year. The webbing is the best in the industry, and I won't wear anything else. If you're looking for a good CCW belt, check them out.
So if you watched the main channel this morning and you're here because John said click the link and see what Neil did with this, thanks for coming over. If not, I'm gonna have to explain a little bit about what we're doing, but we're also gonna have a link to today's lesson here to send you back to the main channel if you wanna go see the breakdown of it a little bit more. This is one that John and I kind of coordinated just simply because we wanted to release the one on the same date here. I've got some cool targets. I got some rubber dummy targets from our friends over at Mr. Target that I'm going to use as our bad guys from today's video. I'm going to play the good guy, at least what I'm calling everybody, the bad guys and the good guys. Go watch the video. You'll figure out who I'm talking about there. But the scenario was this. Guy's driving down the street on his motorcycle. Two dudes pull up beside him on their own motorcycle. One flashes a gun. He pulls over. They get him off his bike, pat him down. He's laying face down. They pat him down, steal his wallet, his phone, all of his stuff. He is carrying somewhere in front of the body. I can't tell for sure if it's appendix that he's carrying or if he's carrying in like a jacket pocket or something. It's hard to see as he walks over to draw, but ultimately what he does is he's laying down about 5 yards away from the bikes when bad guy number 2 leaves him to go help his buddy take the bike and get out of Dodge, right? At this point, our good guy gets up, walks about 10 to 12 yards down to a telephone pole or an REA pole, whichever one you call that, I don't care, or some sort of cover. And from there, he draws his gun, comes around corner, and starts putting shots on targets down here. Now, what we see pretty quickly is one guy goes down pretty fast. I think the guy went empty as this guy decides, no, I am done. I'm gonna get out of here. He jumps on the bike and takes off and then drives past him. And that's where that one ends right now. I'm sure there's news stories and all of that kind of stuff, but that's where the shooting problem ends. There's a few things that I want us to consider there, but before we consider too much, I want to actually go do the shooting problem. So what I've got is our bad guys kind of set up similar to what I see on the video. I've got a cardboard target set up here that I'm going to call my cover that we're going to shoot from behind up here. So let's set this up. So now you're going to have to use your imagination a little bit because I'm not bringing REA poles out here and digging holes or anything, but this is his cover. This is what he used. What he did was take what I think to be a little bit of a leisurely stroll. Again, if somebody's threatening your life, whatever you do it quickly. And don't just get up and go for a walk in the park on a Sunday. But it took him about 10 seconds to walk those 12 yards. I get it. He's in shock. Some things are happening. He's trying to formulate a plan. Potentially, he's never had any kind of mental rep to do this kind of thing. So that's the beauty of this, is we get a mental rep. We can honor the sacrifice of, you know, the thing that he had to go through. Now, he survived it, but we can honor that by taking a mental rep so that if we're ever find ourselves in any kind of a similar situation, maybe we can act a little more quickly, have a plan in place. And so what he did is he walked around here, he drew his gun as he got to about right here. And I can't tell if he took it out of his appendix area or out of a pocket. I'll let the internet debate that. Maybe there's better video out there. I watched it on a pretty small screen, so who knows. But then he started putting shots down target at this range, which I'm sitting at about 12 yards. And again, that's a guesstimation. I counted 4 parking spots. The average parking spot is 8 to 9 feet wide. So I took the middle of that, did a little bit of math, and I put myself at 12 yards. He could have been at 15. He could have been at 10. I don't know for sure, but just based on the math, we're going to shoot this thing at 12. And so what I'm going to do here in a second, put my ears on, and I'm going to draw and shoot at these 2 targets just to see what the shooting problem feels like. But what I'm going to do is move the camera around so you see what the bad guys would have seen. So I think from right there, I can shoot past my camera without having to worry about, I'm not going to shoot my camera. And if I am, it's my camera. I get to shoot it, right? But we're going to talk about how he used cover here in a little bit. And I just want you to see what the actual shooting looked like. The draw is not a concern here just because of the walk up. We don't really need the visually quiet draw or anything like that. I mean, we probably don't want to be doing a complete draw haka or anything along those lines, but that's not really the important one here. So as he comes around, he's already got his gun in hand and he kind of steps out and does his shooting. Now, I shot 4 times. I shot 2 into each one. I think he either had a malfunction or he ran dry. I don't have sound on the video that I've got, so I can't tell for sure. But let's see how my shots fell. Okay. Guy number 1 took 2 to the heart. Well, those are not bad shots at 12 yards. Guy number 2 took a couple to the melon. Blew my rubber dummy out. And a couple of pretty decent shots. Now, I feel like I'm probably an above average shooter. I don't know that everybody's got that. I know a lot of people do, and that's not that hard a shot. The reason, and I see this in comments all the time, is why aren't we shooting at the legs? Why aren't we shooting at the head? All of those, I mean, everybody has this idea, probably from movies that they watched, of why we need to shoot where. We shoot high center chest because it's the biggest target. It's the biggest area. The pumps and the pipes are in there, the heart and the lungs. So if we can drop the blood pressure, we can stop the threat much more quickly. And this is an easier shot. With a background of, you know, the city, if you wing one at the head over here and you miss, that's going, who knows? It's going somewhere. It's going to hit something. Hopefully it's going to be something that is very low consequence, but that's why we aim high center chest. That's where the pumps and the pipes are. That's where we can stop a threat pretty quickly. The fibs factor sets in pretty quick when you've been punched in the chest pretty hard, is what we see over and over and over. Another thing to consider is this guy probably didn't just stand still when he started shooting from up there. He probably moved. So, you know, while I took a headshot here, just because that's just as wide all the way up and down, chances are he is either going to be turning this way or this way and adjusting that shot. So something to think about. Another thing to think about, now that we've kind of seen the problem that he had and the shots that he took, one of the challenges is this guy got on his bike and drove right at him. Now, this is a lethal threat still. They had a gun, they threatened your life, and now they're closing distance on you and you've got cover. Now, he did kind of duck back behind that pole. I would have liked to have seen him actually go to work and finish the job that he started with both of these guys, because they both did threaten his life. But if he's got a gun that's malfunctioning or inoperable, it's probably best just to kind of use your cover and hide. And I would really like to have seen even a little bit more of an effort to get behind that. But again, guy survived, and success is a hell of a deodorant, right? But for those of us that may find ourselves in something like that someday, bad guys wing shots as they leave sometimes. And so he could have been driving that bike down the road and winged a couple at him as he went by. So think about your cover. Think about the fact that you are in a gunfight. They introduced the gun. You brought yours to the party, but you're in a gunfight. So act like it the entire time and pay attention to those angles and all of that. So, ooh, I backed right into that guy. Ooh, scary. All right. So a couple more things that I'd like us to consider is, you know, if I've got this set up as my roadway down my side berm, my REA pole is what I just shot from. If I look just to here, he was laying on, they laid him down on the ground. They crossed the sidewalk and stepped into the first parking spot. So I'm guessing that at about 4 to 5 yards, maybe 4 to 6 yards. So I'm going to set up at about 5 yards laying down. Now, if you're carrying in front of the waist, whether you're up in a pocket or down here, it's going to be difficult to draw while you're laying on the ground. That's absolutely a thing, something that you should practice dry many times before you try to go to the range and do this. And most ranges aren't going to let you lay down on your belly and draw your gun anyway. So just do it, put your barrel block in and do it dry, and spend your time there. However, what I would have liked to have seen him do, since they believed that they had everything from him and he was laying right there, 5 yards is a way easier shot than 10 to 12 to 15. And so what I would have liked to have seen him do is maybe roll over, draw, and just shoot right there from his back. These are pretty easy shots. So I've got that set up. I've got a pair of gloves laying on the ground over here at about 5 yards. So I'm going to set the camera up and try to recreate what an option could have been for him and what that would have looked like. Okay, so my gloves are at about 6 yards. And so if you look at this, he was laying down in about this position. And again, if you watched the video, you saw, you know, bad guy one with the gun over here, patting him down, going through his pockets, stealing all of his stuff, and then missed his gun, thankfully, right? If he had been carrying strong side, if he had been carrying small the back, he would have taken the gun, and then Lord knows what happens. However, hopefully they take the gun and leave. But however, he had the gun in front of him, so he was able to lay pretty flat and keep the gun to himself and not introduce it. So he waited his turn. And so I'm going to put my ears on And what this is going to look like, hopefully I don't think it's too wet here, and oh man, I'm old. All right, I hope I'm still on there. So yeah, how cool is this? All right, so he's laying like this. He is down on the ground, and now bad guy walks away, and he did roll over. He rolled over to here and kind of sat up. And at this point, you've got two pretty easy shots. And so to draw from a laying on your back is a whole lot easier than drawing from laying on your front. But if he would have potentially, again, what I would have liked to have seen was him to roll over. What you do is you keep your back on the ground, you clear your cover garment, kick your hips up, draw your gun so you don't point at yourself, and now you've got shots, right? And we're done. Ooh. If you're going to practice this, always get up before you reholster. It is so scary to me to see people laying on the ground reholstering from the ground. It's just too easy to point a gun at yourself. We're in practice. Now, if the apocalypse is happening and you need to holster on the ground, knock yourself out. But maybe practice it a few times dry. I just see guys pointing guns at themselves way too often. Saw a video once of guys were shooting out of cars on a range doing apocalyptics, fantasy band gun camp kind of thing, which looked really fun, but they were holstering and drawing from a moving car. And man, that just scares me a little bit. So let's be really careful as we practice this. This is probably not something that your range is going to let you do. You can practice that at home dry though, very easily. And what you'll see here is that my shots, while from that low position, I was kind of aiming down below the chest here a little bit because I didn't want to go up and over my berm. I got all of my hits. They're way easier. I can shoot at a faster cadence, and life happens a lot better when you can shoot easy shots much more quickly. Like I said, if something bad's happening, whatever you do, you want to do it quickly, but you also want to do it accurately. So these are the kind of things that we can work on. I hope this was helpful. This was an interesting one to see. I think the guy did a pretty good job of covering his ASP. He got over, he used some cover, he got some shots down range, still lost his bike. I mean, at the very best, he traded it for the other guy's bike, but potentially I think he had a little bit better option here if he'd have rolled over and just put the shots in there. And again, I'm glad he was carrying up front versus, strong side or small the back. So hope this one helps. We'll see you next time.